Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Office Lovers, along Ryo Kaido's route. Well, we're done his route, and now we're just doing the extras, finishing him up. So, first off is the epilogue, Fake Smile. You can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story.
My name is Kaido Ryo, and I'm from the PR department.
Nice to meet you. He handed her his business card, and she nervously accepted it. Her hands trembled as she held the card.
Sorry, Mr. Kaido. She's been a fan of yours ever since you came here for a meeting ages ago. She's still young, but I've taken her under my wing and taken her around with me. I know she's a burden, but it'd be great if you could show her a thing or two. It's no trouble at all. We may not be in the same company, but being in PR, we'll probably meet again someday. I look forward to working with you when that time comes.
Thank you. He gave her a kind-hearted smile, and she went bright red. She nodded. She must really admire him. I had been staring at the fidgeting girl when Mr. Kaido spoke up.
Dirili, the documents.
Oh, right. Coming back to reality, I stood up and passed out the documents. Today we were having a meeting with another company. It's a PR meeting, but Mr. Kaido had told me to come along anyway, calling it study. He'd let me come along to another meeting before, but that was within our own company. This was the first time he'd let me tag along to a meeting like this. I was a little nervous.
Okay, let me explain these documents here. If you could open your proposals.
His voice was calm, as it instructed everyone into their documents. Mr. Kaido seemed different today. His tone was calmer, his demeanor less imposing. He wasn't even letting that smile break. Was this really the same Mr. Kaido? All the girls at our office love him, and if this is what he shows to women elsewhere... He's amazing! I could see why he has so many fans. He's amazing! Well, she may be a little past the level of fan. She seems genuinely in love with him. Do I have to worry for my life here?
That covers for the proposal. Any questions?
He gave a momentary pause and looked around the table.
Well, I'm fine.
Mr. Kaido looked to the female employee. He's so freaking hot! I agree. Whoa, I think her eyes just became heart-shaped. It's pretty obvious she can't think about work right now.
If you don't have any further questions, then that concludes.
Wait! Alarmed at her sudden scream, our eyes widened. I have a question. Oh! Too quick to stand, the paper she had been holding slipped and scattered all over. Oh, no! It's fine, don't worry about it. I bent over and began to help the poor red-faced girl pick up her papers. Mr. Kaido helped as well, and took my pile in his and handed it to her.
Here you are.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. We probably should have fastened those papers together. Please forgive us.
Mr. Kaido gave her a deep bow, but she only shook her head desperately. No, it's not your fault at all. I just wasn't holding it properly.
Oh, that's right.
He spoke as if he had noticed something, and he took her hand. What are you doing? You can only touch my hands.
Did you cut your finger when those papers fell?
I'm fine.
Well, if you're sure.
He flashed her a charming smile, released her hand, and then returned to his seat.
So, you had a question?
After that minor incident, the rest of the meeting went smoothly and ended on time. But halfway through the meeting, I started to feel something in my chest. Jealousy?
Thank you for taking the time to come all the way out here to meet with us. No, I'm sorry we took up so much of your time. And, sorry for that little incident in the meeting with her. It was no problem at all. We're just glad she didn't get hurt.
Thank you so much for today. As if trying to hide behind her boss, she looked up occasionally back to Mr. Kaido. He answered her gaze with a smile, then turned to me.
The elevator.
It's all ready. I had excused myself during their goodbyes, and had finished the preparation. The male employee smiled, as if to thank me.
You know, I don't think there's even more than 3 years difference between us. The women here really had their act together.
Huh? The women here? Is he talking about me? I didn't expect the conversation to swing my way. My words got caught in my throat, unsure of how to respond to that.
Thank you, but she's still young. I've taken her under my wing, and I'm currently training her. I hope we get another chance to work together again soon, right?
Yes. Sounds lovely. Mr. Kaido and I bowed together.
Well, I hope so too. But with Mr. Kaido training you, I'd say you won't need each other for much longer. Maybe you could even take my girl over here.
Hey!
How does that sound? Maybe be a bit of a burden, but do you think you could work it in? No, I'm afraid not. It might be a bad idea.
Mr. Kaido smiled warmly.
Having such a cute girl around here might cause a few distractions. No work would get done.
What?
Boy, you do have a way with words.
Thank you, Mr. Kaido. That feeling in my chest from earlier, it's back. It's like a fire. Is he messing with me? Is he making me jealous on purpose? I gripped my chest, but this mysterious burning showed no signs of calming. We saw the two off at the elevator, then we returned to the meeting room.
Good work today.
Thanks, you too. He had been so smiley all day with them here, but now that they're gone, I'll clean up in here.
Kay?
That girl was really excited to work with you today.
I met her the first time back when I visited her company's office. She was just as jittery and excitable back then as she was today. It must be exhausting having someone like that nipping at your heels all day.
Exhausted just thinking about it, he sighed. I looked at him out of the corner of my eye. She might not always be like that, you know. She was probably just over the moon to be here with you. She must have just graduated college. Being fawned over a girl like that must feel good. Mr. Kaido sure didn't look at all bothered by it. Or was it just my imagination? No, he's playing you. And then that pain in my chest again. It stung this time. Watching them leave cooled the pain a bit, but now I felt it even more. It must be nice, huh? Being so popular, you're not even a celebrity and you have all these fans. Even in this office, you have a sea of admirers. I just never realized how fervent your fan base was until that girl today. Oh, like you're one to talk to, really. You've got 5 guys after you in this office at least. Oh, 6, because you gotta count Ken. Though the poor guy doesn't have a chance. This pain was driving a lot of those words. I couldn't stop. All of the luck he possesses a man, I think, has been used up recruiting fangirls.
Dirili.
Uh-oh, I think I may have said too much. He narrowed his eyes and stared at me. Did I make him mad? This is so uncomfortable being with him here, but this pain in my chest. I don't want to be alone with him. I need to get back to my desk. I quickly finished cleaning up the room, grabbed the materials, and headed for the door. I'm going to head back. The door slammed in front of my face. It had been slammed shut from behind me. I turned around, scared of what I would find.
Oh, so soon? You want to leave me so soon? You want to leave me that badly, huh? Well, answer me.
He brought his face near mine. I could feel his breath on me. Yes.
Huh, awfully honest.
That girl today got to see that nice, kind, wonderful side of you today. That side of you is so rare, I thought I should burn the image into my brain. But the real reason is this pain in my chest that just won't go away.
I see. So that's why you won't even look at me.
Yeah. His eyes narrowed on me, interested. But that's not how he shows love. He shows love with torment.
Was I really that wonderful today? Do you really think that?
Yes, you were being so kind. Even though she had been staring at you with those lovesick eyes the whole day. You never once told her to look away if she had nothing to say. She had made me angry the second she walked through that door. Even though she had asked you countless irrelevant questions, you kept her cool and were so polite. That was professionalism. All this, and then he told me I was nothing but an amateur. And what was with that concern? Oh, did you cut your finger? She almost swooned. I had done the same thing, and he told me that it wasn't proper office behavior. You were acting so different today.
What's going on here? Are you jealous?
What? Jealous? Me? Jealous of her? Oh, come on, don't deny it now. Don't be in denial. You gotta be kidding me. You haven't recognized the signs in yourself? He had hit the nail on the head. I was suddenly at a loss for words. No, that's not it.
Isn't it? You're jealous of that girl because I was being nice to her.
He whispered his words in a kind voice and touched my cheek. Mr. Kaido? I felt his touch on me and I looked up. With that same kind expression as before, he looked down on me.
You're stupid. If you want me to be nice to you, you should have said something. I'll do whatever you want me to. I'll do whatever you want me to do.
Mr. Kaido? His tone was much the same as it had always been, but something in his eyes was so sweet. This is not good. I think this is just bad for my heart at this point. Staring up at this new Mr. Kaido, I felt my face flush.
Dirili.
Oh God, when he calls my name like that. It felt like my heart had been squeezed. It was excruciating. I love it when he says my name and when he says no. When I tell him to stop and he just says no. Oh my God, I love it so much.
What's the matter? You're blushing.
Mr. Kaido? Why are you talking like that?
Because you said you liked how I was acting at the meeting. And if you say you want me like that, then I'll change for you.
After flashing an incredibly kind smile at me, he knitted his brow.
But you really are red. Do you have a fever?
His chilled hands moved to my forehead.
Doesn't feel like it. Does anything hurt? Are you in any pain?
No.
I'm glad. But don't push yourself too hard, okay?
He took his hand from my head and stroked my hair gently.
You're a hard worker. Someday you're going to run yourself into the ground. I worry about you.
He brushed my bangs off to the side. No, I don't like this. Be mean to me again. Torment me. Tease me.
Mwah.
He planted a gentle kiss on my forehead. What's going on here? Who is this person and what has he done with Mr. Kaido? His forehead creased with concern, his eyes distressed, and his lips were speaking kind words. This wasn't like him at all. He was nice. But I was happy he was being so sweet to me, but something felt off. I grabbed his hand that had been patting my head and took it off me. I'm sorry.
Dirili.
The you that I was so envious of today, you can stop that now. I knew I was being selfish asking for that. But if he keeps doing this anymore, I might actually get a fever. And not in a good way.
That was fast. Don't you want me to be nice to you?
At first, maybe, yes, but it feels like you're just treating me as a friend or some stranger. I don't like it. I like you better just the way you are. Sure, some of the thoughtless things he says and his condescending attitude hurt sometimes. But I love him so much more when he's just being himself with no apologies. I love that cruel teasing, Mr. Kaido. I had finally come to that realization and had apologized, but he...
No.
Oh, he's gonna keep going. He has a new form of torment now.
No, my sweet. You don't have to hold anything back from me anymore.
Huh? His smile was still plastered to his face as he said it.
Right now, all I want to do is be sweet to you. Be kind to you, Dirili. It's good to hear what you want from me from time to time.
No. What I want is for you to go back to your old...
Hush, my precious.
Precious. That just so does not sound like him. This sounds like he's reenacting a play or something. Suddenly, he lifted me into his arms.
This is the me you wanted, right? And this is the me holding you in my arms.
Hey, Mr. Kaido! Still held in his arms, he brought me back to the meeting room and put me on the table.
I absolutely despised dealing with that unpleasant girl. But I hurt you. You're so important to me, and I confused you. And then I made you jealous. I'm shameless.
What? After laying me down on the table, he neared me and smiled. Mr. Kaido, I wouldn't call this being very nice. Doing it with that smile on your face is actually making it slightly meaner.
I think you're imagining things.
He brought his face down near mine and smiled.
Now then, time to gently hold you. But I have a lot of apologizing to do, so things might get a little rough.
That's the best kind of apology, the rough kind.
I have to apologize for making you so needlessly jealous. Though, it may take a while to punish. It may take a while to coddle you.
Nice save, Mr. Kaido. He was genuinely about to say he was going to punish me. Slip of the tongue. I'm fine, really. You're being too nice. Seriously, too nice. Please, just go back to your old self now. Even if he was going to punish me like he always does, it's better than this crazy stuff. This is another punishment. Haven't you realized that yet, Dirili?
Then there's no need to be so reserved with me, dear.
Oh God, this is so weird. How do I bring the normal Mr. Kaido back? He must be pretty mad at me for being so jealous earlier.
Dirili?
If I try to run away, he'll go back to the Mr. Kaido. The best tactic for a time like this is the element of surprise, I think. I reached out and snatched his tie on my... Oh, there we go! Is this the time when we finally get to do that kiss that we said we were going to do, but we never did? I reached out and snatched his tie on my hand. I gave it a good tug. He was as surprised as I had predicted. I planted a kiss on his lips. Mwah. Oh, don't just do that. Get deeper in there, girl. I pushed my lips against his.
Dirili?
I immediately relinquished my hold of the tie and his lips, but he was still in shock. A brilliant strategy, if I do say so myself. Now, if we could just push him down on the table. So, this is your revenge for all the teasing I've done to you. Oh, that was his line. Come on, they keep saying the wrong person. That had to be him, right?
So, this is the revenge for all the teasing I've done to you.
He's always taking the initiative and bossing me around all the time. It feels so good to be in charge sometimes. When my surprise kiss provoked a success, he looked at me, shock written all over his face. Sorry for getting pissed about being jealous. It's just that I like the mean, nasty you so much more than whatever you were like earlier. So, if you're going to punish me, I want the real you to do it, please. I want to see him again, the real Mr. Kaido. I squeezed my fist. I'm going to absolutely hate it if he goes back to acting like that stranger. I looked up at him. Oh, he's still... Why does he look dejected? His mouth strained, and I looked down to the floor. Did he really want to be nice? His bangs hid his eyes. Sorry, maybe I was a little too rough. Did I hit your teeth? I felt fine, but maybe it hurt a little when I pulled on his tie like that. Is he okay? I felt a little afraid of what I might find. I leaned down and peered at him. Wham! Huh? Suddenly, the floor became the ceiling. My back hit the table, and I reeled from the pain. Mr. Kaido stared down at me. Oh, that look! Mr. Kaido? He scowled. Mr. Kaido was back.
What the hell? Getting all sulky like that and saying you didn't need me? You just wanted to make me mad.
What are you talking about? I would never... Wow, I think he's super mad. My back against the table and my hand laced with his. I had nowhere to run.
Just how you like it. Me torturing you.
He glowered at me.
You need to be punished. I'm going to punish you.
His voice was angry, deep and low. I instinctively closed my eyes. Oh God, I love it. It's the dangerous aspect of it. I love when there's like this sense of danger with guys, and that's why I like these kind of things so much. His lips on mine ignited a fire within me, and he took my hand forcefully, and I love the hand thing. This isn't good. We're at work. We wouldn't go all the way with this, right? As he kissed me, I became increasingly concerned about where this was leading. He was back to his normal self, no more that awkward, distant Mr. Kaido. I was so happy to have him back. Lost in thought, I began to unconsciously move my body into his as I let my strength go. Wait a second. What's going on here? He said he was going to punish me, but this kiss feels gentler than usual. He pulled away a bit, and I opened my eyes. He smiled and licked my lips.
What's wrong? Not enough for you yet? You were expecting something rougher, weren't you?
Yeah?
Huh, my little nympho.
What? His words that tried to stir up the shame inside me made me blush.
I was just about to give you a very stern punishing. But then, I realized that in order to punish you, I needed to be the opposite of what you want.
Oh, I caught on. I like the forcefulness. He's going to be gentle because I wanted to be more aggressive.
So, I stopped myself.
He's withholding.
Well, what do you think? Are you sure you like the cruel me? Will it make you happy?
As he said those words, he bent down and pressed his lips to my ear.
By the way, our time in this room is very limited. You're just so selfish, though. It may not be enough time to properly tease you.
With that whisper, we stood back up and he fixed his tie.
Don't make plans tonight. It's Friday, so we'll have time on our side. I'll be as cruel as you want tonight.
I don't want that. Well, he said as much as I'd like, so... I propped myself up on the table and fixed my disheveled clothes.
Stop holding back.
He lifted his chin and laughed then, turned and put his hand on the doorknob.
I'll show you the usual me. All night if necessary.
All night sounds good to me. Oh God, I know I'm such a pervert on this route, but oh, he really does it for me. I mean, a little bit on the soft side even still, but it's that area. And they have some nice extra touches that they added to this story that I really like. Did I have a new CG in there? There was this. Okay. Okay, so that's the full picture of that one. And that's all we get for pictures. Yeah, Kaido has definitely had the best pictures in this game so far. I feel like... What, did they have different artists for each guy? Because I really feel like Saijo and Otori's artists were not as good. And in fact, 3 of Otori's pictures looked very, very similar to each other. Alright, well anyway, it's going to be a long video, but let's move on to the date scenario. Sorry if my voice is getting a little worn out, because I've been reading a bit late, and it's 3 o'clock now already, so... Which is usually my stopping time, but I gotta finish this! I can't abandon him now. Date. The taste of a kiss. Good morning. It was the morning of an average Saturday. Despite knowing full well no one was going to be in the office, I said my greetings as I entered.
Morning.
Ah! Suddenly, Mr. Kaido was behind me.
Why did you scream?
Sorry, I didn't think anyone was going to be here. I guess it was pretty rude of me to scream like that. I bowed my head apologetically and he sighed.
Fine, whatever.
He brushed past me and headed for his desk. Relieved he had forgiven me, I headed for my desk. As he walked in front of me, I noticed that white smoke billowing from his hand. Mr. Kaido, are you smoking? The office was a no smoking zone, but people did it anyway after hours. But I had never seen him smoke before. It seemed sort of out of character.
No.
Then what's with that smoke?
It's steam.
A kettle? He turned around and in his hand was a steaming kettle. It wasn't the one we had in the lounge, but a small handheld one. He must have been taking a break. Were you getting coffee? Let me get it for you.
It wasn't coffee.
Is it tea? Then what were you... I followed him, curious, and on his desk was something I hadn't expected. It was a teacup, a lacquer tea caddy, and a tea cloth. And a tea whisk? Oh, is he making green tea? What the... Were you doing a tea ceremony?
Yeah.
Mr. Kaido, do you perform tea ceremonies?
Sometimes.
He sat down and placed the mini kettle on his desk. That mini kettle and that teacup are his, aren't they? He really seems like he knows what he's doing. This isn't the first time he's done this at work. Now that I think of it, this might be the first time I've seen someone make tea before. I wanted to tease about why he would do this in the office, but I was too curious. Can I watch?
It's a free country.
He poured the hot water from the kettle into the cup and nodded. I brought up a chair and plopped myself down next to him.
Do you like green tea?
I guess. I don't drink it every day, though.
It tastes just fine, but the real reason I do this is because it helps to recharge me. When I make tea like this, I'm so focused that it allows me to forget about work. I've always wanted to try performing it, though.
Performing it? Like at a tea ceremony in front of others?
Yeah, being outside enjoying the seasons and making tea.
I think I saw something on TV about that. It's done outside in front of people or something. That's pretty much exactly what he said. That sounds so elegant. It'd be amazing in spring, I bet, under the cherry blossoms. And at night, drinking tea while the petals fall all over us. Pretty romantic, actually. But I suppose those ceremonies usually happen in the afternoon, huh?
Want to do it? Maybe not so much the tea part, but the spring. Let's go blossom viewing.
With you?
Unless you have someone else in mind.
No, I want to go with you. In my excitement, I began to lean forward. He smiled.
Hey, you're going to spill it.
Oh, sorry. I got a little too excited there, I guess. I sat down, and he poured the now cooled water into the cup of tea leaves.
Then keep your schedule free.
My schedule?
You want to view the cherry blossoms with me, right?
I raised my eyes from his hand, and he smiled faintly. Really? Of course I do. I keep my whole spring free.
What? Do you plan on going every day?
I gave a low chuckle, and I clasped my hands together ready to explain. It's just that it's rare to make future plans with this like him. When is this year's blossom viewing season? Oh, and we'll have to pick a good spot, too. Letting my excitement for spring get the better of me, Mr. Kaido picked up the teacup. Wow. He began to whisk the tea. It was a lovely sound to hear in the office. Seeing him make tea so effortlessly was spellbinding. And I bet he looked great in some traditional clothes, too. Maybe he'll wear them in spring.
Want some?
After whisking the tea for a bit, he offered the cup to me. Really? Can I?
If you want.
I'd love some, thank you. I'm not sure what the formal way of drinking this is, but maybe I can just sort of fake it. I gave a small bow, then lifted the cup. The smell of green tea wafted over to me. Tiny bubbles began to foam on the top, giving it a frothy layer. It looked delicious. I brought the cup to my chest, turned it twice to the right. That was how you do it, right? I don't think so. He stared at me. Maybe that's not how you do it. It was like he was scorning me on my performance. It was nerve-wracking. Is this how you do it? Or maybe... Here I go. You take 3 sips. That's it, right? That's the correct manner, isn't it? Silently praying it looked like I knew what I was doing, I brought the cup to my lips and... I brought the teacup he had brewed to my lips and took a gulp. It's so good! I thought I might drink it all in one gulp. The tea was subtly sweet. Mr. Kaido, this tea is really good. I don't usually drink green tea, so I was afraid it was going to be really bitter.
And that's what most people say. It's not as bitter as everyone believes it to be, though it depends on the powder and how you serve it.
I've always wondered about that. I mean, I tried the stuff you can get online, but I don't really know how the actual tea ceremony works. I've seen it so many times, but I don't actually get it. I gotta study up on it one day. And I tried different powders and stuff, but oh man, so I'm sure the good ones are the really expensive ones.
If you aren't a total bumbling idiot, then you can generally make an okay cup of it.
So then, do you think I'll be able to do it? I took 3 more sips of the tea and finished it. I wiped my lip marks away with my finger. I turned the cup twice, as is custom, I think, and set it back on the table. It was delicious, thank you. I turned to him and gave a polite, silent bow.
Good. But, about you trying to make tea.
He pulled the empty cup towards him, and he observed me for a moment. When he's going to tell me it would be hopeless?
I'd say you have a 50% chance of not totally ruining it.
Only 50%?
That's actually pretty high.
But we won't know until we try, right? I stared at him for a moment, and he narrowed his eyes curiously.
What is this? Are you begging me to let you try it?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Well, you know, if you teach me, then it'll probably turn out pretty well. I nodded with a broad smile, and he sighed heavily.
You're my partner at work. I don't remember taking you under my wing for hobbies, too.
He handed the empty kettle to me.
Boil some water.
Yes, sir. With the kettle in hand, I headed to the kitchen.
Come over here.
Okay. After coming back from the staff kitchen, I walked to his desk. On his desk were all the instruments needed to perform a tea ceremony.
You saw what I did earlier. Just do what I did.
Okay.
Oh, wait a second.
Huh? Ah! What are you doing? That's dangerous. As I was about to sit down, he suddenly wrapped his arm around my waist.
Don't bend your elbows when you pour. Do it standing.
Right. Now that he mentioned it, I don't think I've ever seen anyone do this sitting. I nodded and stood in front of his chair. I looked out over the utensils. Okay, what's first? Is it this one? First, you heat up the teacup, right?
Yeah, and make sure to pour the water into a separate cup and let it cool.
Okay. I did as told, and heated up the cup while letting the water cool.
In order to make the tea, you're going to need the water to be 80 degrees Celsius.
Right. His instructions were crystal clear, and I followed them precisely. Probably not precisely enough. After this, and if I practice enough, maybe I'll be able to do this on my own. I wonder if I'll get good enough to make him tea under the cherry blossoms this spring.
Okay, it's looking good. Get rid of the water in the cup and put powder in.
Okay. If I can just get this right, I know I can do anything. But before I get ahead of myself, I just need him to tell me my tea tastes good. After heating the bowl and throwing the water away, I spooned out some green tea. I poured the now cooled water into the cup with the powder.
You are doing better than I thought.
He actually praised me. I did it. Not yet, don't count your chicks before they're hatched. Okay, first goal achieved. After being praised by him, I felt happiness swell within me. Then now I have to mix it, right?
Yeah.
I grabbed the whisk and began to mix the powder in the cup. Well, this is much easier than I thought it would be.
You're doing it wrong.
Huh? Just as I thought I had it in the bag, his stern voice boomed. I thought the whisking would probably be the most difficult part.
Don't let the whisk hit the bottom of the cup. You're angling it all wrong.
What? So, more like this?
No, you're holding it weird.
Not holding it right?
Hey, stop whisking already. It's going to start clumping.
His criticisms began to fly at me, and I had thought this was going to be a piece of cake. He made it look so easy when he did it. My head started swirling in confusion. He clicked his tongue.
It's all wrong.
He reached around from behind me and began to guide my hands. Mr. Kaido?
Shut up. Move your hands. You hold the whisk like so.
Oh, I see now. My right hand held the whisk, and my left hand the cup. He layered his hand over mine. Is he going to teach me by doing this together? He pressed himself against me, making sure we were in sync. I felt his hard chest press against my back, and my cheeks flushed.
Too slow.
Huh? His hot breath fell on my ears. I shuddered, and my hand stopped immediately.
Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, sorry. I began to stir again, but my mind was squarely on the body pressed against me. I was thankful Mr. Kaido was helping me make tea like this, but it just felt that I'd failed. The heat from his body that had once excited me no longer felt nearly as tempting. No, it wasn't that. I wanted him to kiss me. Not just be held by him, I wanted to bring him into my arms. With those thoughts swirling in my head, I couldn't focus on his words.
Faster. Do it until you get tiny bubbles to form.
The tea wasn't even in my mind anymore. He was all I could think about.
Hey, listen.
Ow! Mr. Kaido, my ear!
I'm taking the time to teach you, and you can't even bother to listen? Next time I'll bite harder.
I totally didn't realize he bit her ear. His voice didn't have that teasing quality to it like it usually did. He's very serious about his tea. But with his lips close to me, his sweet deep voice made my heart pound. And that bite mark he left on my earlobe still stung sweet. Okay, sure. His hot breath continued to fall on my ear, and my mind was swirling as I whisked the cup.
This isn't working.
He backed away from me and picked up the cup. Mr. Kaido?
It doesn't seem like you're listening to me at all anymore. If you don't feel like listening to directions anymore, then let's just stop. I won't let you drink this crap.
But... This is my first time doing it. I want to try.
No.
Mr. Kaido! His voice was authoritative and final, and usually I would give up after hearing that. But I had decided I wanted to make tea in spring. I had to taste my creation no matter how bad. I pulled his sleeve pleadingly. Mr. Kaido, please. If you let me drink it, I'll do anything you say. That face.
Anything?
This piqued his interest. He smirked.
You'd make such a simple promise to me, just to drink some tea?
Yes. Whoa, his face looked so... sinister. You're really in for something. I take that back. Not anything.
No, those conditions were fine. I'll let you drink it. On those terms.
Mr. Kaido!
You should hurry up and drink before I change my mind.
I totally messed up. Crap. But I already said it, so not much else I can do. Now very afraid of what I had just gotten myself into, I took the cup and sipped. Oh God, it's awful! Just a sip and the bitterness attacked my mouth. I scowled and puckered my face. Ugh, what is this? Is this really the same stuff he used earlier? Ugh, why is this so wretched?
Thought so.
He sighed.
Too bitter, isn't it? The texture isn't the greatest either.
Yeah.
It didn't thicken enough. On top of that, the water had cooled too much. First, memorize the process, then you can start perfecting it.
He took the cup from my hands and brought it to his lips. Ah!
Yup, that's bitter.
I'm sorry. I didn't think he'd actually drink it. He furrowed his brow and scowled. He nodded.
But it's not like there isn't a way to sweeten things up.
He smirked. Really? I can still fix it?
Yeah.
I could actually make this nasty, bitter tea better? This would be good to know how to do for the next time. Please, tell me how. I gave a deep bow, begging for his assistance. He only gave me a cold stare.
You're being awfully studious. Brushing up on your homemaking skills.
No!
Didn't think so.
He immediately snorted a laugh, which irritated me more than a little. Why are you laughing?
Who would want to make a home with some amateur who can't even make tea?
It's been a while since you called me that. He hadn't said that in ages. It almost made me feel somehow nostalgic.
You look happy. Should I try it again?
Please don't.
Huh. Now, don't be shy. If you want me to say it, just say so. I guess it's good enough for work, but as a woman, it's pretty pathetic. If you want to learn how to be a good homemaker and wife, I'll teach you. And I'll make sure to call you an amateur every chance I get.
I don't need domestication.
Huh, really? Are you sure about that? I could teach you just like how I taught you before, when we made that tea.
Huh? Like how he taught me before? I remember the feeling of him pressed against my back, and I blushed. He wants to teach me everything like that? The nervousness I felt, and that heat, and the way my heart pounded. I subconsciously touched the spot on my ear where he had bit me. Mr. Kaido smirked.
I'll take you by the hand and lead you all the way. Or maybe by the waist.
I'm fine, without your help. A liar.
Is that so? Those watery, lust-filled eyes of yours tell a different story. You can't wait any longer, can you? You want me to continue.
Before I knew it, he was pinned up against me just like before. His lips brushed my ear, and I felt like my heart was about to explode. Mr. Kaido, please teach me how to make the tea sweeter. It's just like those times before. I'm going to lose control if this keeps up. I felt my body tingle all over, and I managed to voice my thoughts. He sighed.
Fine.
He picked up the teacup and drank the remaining tea, then forced me to look up. I knew he was going to do that. He covered my lips with his. His hand still on my jaw forced my mouth open, and the tea began to flood into my mouth. He's making me drink the tea. Absolutely bewildered by this event, I let the tea from his mouth slowly trickle into mine. It had been so bitter just a moment ago, and now... The heat from his body and the feel of his lips, the occasional touch, nothing was bitter. Hey! There was a long kiss. He gave a final peck on my lips, and I collapsed into him.
How was that? Sweet enough for you?
I don't think that this, method is going to work when I'm alone.
Huh. Well, it's a little trick you can use when I'm around. It'll be part of your homemaking training. Your wifely education under my watchful eye won't be so bad.
Huh? What did you say just now? I couldn't hear his mumblings, and I looked up. He smiled faintly but shook his head.
No. Let's have some real fun.
What? He caught me in his arms, and he deftly slipped a hand into my blouse. Hey! Mr. Kaido, stop! We're at work!
You promised you would do anything.
Hey!
Did you really think that kiss was enough to satiate me? No. I need something more.
He smiled wickedly at me, and I got goosebumps.
Let me sweeten things.
Unable to fight his intoxicating words any longer, I closed my eyes. Oh yes. There could have stood to be more, but I was quite happy with that. Yeah, I feel like some of the stuff in the other routes were a little bit more descriptive, but there were these moments in this that I really just loved that weren't just so obvious and common like some of the other things that have happened in here. I definitely loved all the hand stuff, you know, that he would hold my hand and kiss my fingers and all that stuff in the nail painting. I loved all of that. And you know, of course I always loved the sadist stuff. That's just my kind of guy. I like guys that tease. Although, yeah, like I said, he's a little bit on the light side. I like it when they get really dangerous with you. Well, I know I had more to say, but I just can't think of things at the moment. But that's because it's like 3:30 a.m. Alright, well, anyway, Mr. Hyoga is going to be the next one to read. So, tune in for that, probably tomorrow. I don't know, who knows how my editing is going timing-wise with this stuff. So, whenever the next video comes out, it's going to be Hyoga. Hope to see you there or in some of my other videos, and I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye-bye, everybody.